Welcome to Cheated Hearts, everyone. I'm so glad you've decided to watch my very first video. I've been thinking a lot about sharing this story because it's one of the most painful things I've ever gone through, but I believe it's important to talk about betrayal and heartbreak. These stories aren't easy to tell, but they can help us heal and understand that we're not alone. My name's Alex, and I was married to my wife, Lisa, for 22 years. We had a beautiful family, 2 kids, both teenagers now, and I thought our life together was as close to perfect as it could get. We met in college, and it was one of those love-at-first-sight moments. I fell for her instantly. She was smart, beautiful, and full of life. After a year of dating, I proposed, and a year after that, we were married. We started our family soon after, and everything seemed so simple and joyful. For the first 15 years, everything was great. We had our ups and downs like any couple, but we always had each other's backs. Lisa was a stay-at-home mom for a while, and I worked as an IT manager. Our life was stable, and while we weren't living some extravagant lifestyle, we were comfortable. We made memories, we had laughter, and we shared our dreams. But after so many years, the routine started to take over, and I didn't even notice it happening. I traveled a lot for work. Long hours, business trips, and late-night calls became the norm. Lisa, on the other hand, started getting busier with her own freelance writing business. At first, I was proud of her. She was really passionate about it, and seeing her do something she loved made me happy. But as the months passed, I could feel a shift. She would spend long nights at the computer, typing away, responding to emails, or taking calls. It wasn't anything unusual at first, but it slowly became clear that she was spending more time on her business than on our family. I should have noticed earlier, but I didn't. I was so wrapped up in my own work that I didn't realize the toll it was taking on us. We stopped doing the things we used to enjoy together. We rarely went out on dates anymore, and when we did, it was mostly out of obligation. I started to gain weight, which made me feel worse about myself, and even though I was doing everything to focus on my career, it was clear that something was missing. Our connection started to fade. I knew I had to do something. That's when I decided to start working out and eating better. I hired a personal trainer, lost 60 pounds, and started feeling more confident in myself. I thought, maybe this will help fix things. Maybe it would bring the spark back into our relationship. And for a while, it did. Lisa noticed the change in me, and we even had a few romantic nights, but the underlying tension never fully went away. It wasn't long before I noticed something that really unsettled me. Lisa started talking about one of her clients a lot, Dan. He was someone she met through her writing business, and she would mention him all the time. Dan has some great ideas for the project, or Dan thinks I should write about this topic. At first, I thought it was just work, but there was something in the way she spoke about him, this extra enthusiasm, this extra care. It didn't sit right with me. But I pushed it to the back of my mind, thinking it was just my insecurities. Then one night, I found something that changed everything. It was a typical evening. Lisa was out with friends, and I was at home watching TV. Her phone buzzed with a message, and for some reason, I couldn't shake the feeling that I needed to check it. I know, it was wrong, but I did. When I looked, I saw a message from Dan, nothing too suspicious, just a good night after their business meeting. I felt my heart skip a beat. It was strange, but I convinced myself that maybe I was overthinking it. But over the next couple of weeks, I found more. I found messages that weren't just professional. There were flirtatious remarks, playful banter, and some of them felt a little too close for comfort. At first, I tried to ignore it, but the doubts kept growing. I couldn't stop thinking about it, and the more I tried to push it away, the more it ate at me. It wasn't until 2 weeks ago that everything came crashing down. Lisa went out for a girls' night, like she did once a month. I didn't think much of it at first, but when she came home, something was different. She seemed distant, quiet, and there was an odd tension in the air. I didn't say anything that night, but when I woke up the next morning, I saw her phone lying on the kitchen counter. I don't usually snoop through her things, but my gut was telling me that I had to check. What I found was worse than I ever imagined. There were explicit pictures that weren't from Dan. They were from someone named Mark, and I had never heard that name before. But as I went through the messages between Lisa and Mark, it became clear that their relationship had been going on for months. There were photos, intimate texts, and plans to meet up. It was all laid out in front of me, and the pain hit me like a ton of bricks. The person I trusted the most had betrayed me in the worst possible way. I confronted Lisa immediately. She didn't deny it. She didn't try to make excuses. She admitted everything. She said that Mark was someone she met at a writing conference, and that what started out as a friendly connection had turned into something much deeper. She told me that she felt neglected and lonely, and that's when she turned to Mark for emotional support. What was once just a friendship became something more, and she found herself in a place she couldn't get out of. The betrayal cut deep. My wife had turned to another man for comfort, and the reality of it all was overwhelming. It wasn't just the affair, it was the lies, the deceit, and the broken trust. I felt like everything I had built with Lisa was nothing more than a lie. I asked her to leave. I needed space, time to process everything. She begged me to forgive her, but I couldn't. I couldn't look at her the same way anymore. The love I had for her was still there, but the pain was too great to ignore. I knew that for both of us, it was time to move on. We're in the process of divorcing now, and it's been one of the hardest decisions I've ever made. But I know it's for the best. I deserve someone who will appreciate me, someone who will love and cherish me without betraying my trust. And I'm learning that I deserve better than what I had. Moving forward is scary, but I'm taking it one day at a time. It won't be easy, but I know I'll heal. I'm focused on being the best version of myself for my kids, and while this chapter of my life is painful, I'm choosing to embrace what's ahead. Thank you so much for listening to my story. This is just the first video on cheated hearts, and I hope you'll join me for more stories, more healing, and more strength. I believe that by sharing these experiences, we can support each other and move forward together. If you found this video meaningful, please consider subscribing to my channel. Your support means a lot, and I'd love for you to be part of this journey with me. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.